Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Shit's Hard. I'm your host, Amber, and today we are talking about moving to Los Angeles at the young age of 23. I guess technically I moved here when I was 22. I've had one birthday since I've been here. Holy fuck. I made tea like right before this episode, and this fucking cup is so hot. It's like too hot to be in my hands. All right, let me take the lid off and let that fucking cool for a little bit. All right. Anyways, so we're gonna be talking about moving to Los Angeles as a 22-year-old. My hindsight. Now I've been here for 1 year, so what it's like to have been in Los Angeles for 1 year. What have I done in LA? And we're gonna talk about just like trying new things and kind of like indulging in this new city and what it's been like being in Los Angeles. So let's get into it. For those of you who don't know, anyone who's new here, my background a little bit, I'm from Ohio, Midwest bestie. I finished college in 2022 of May and then moved to Los Angeles in August of 2022. So I'm from a small town in Ohio, fucking cornfields everywhere. Literally 2 hours from Columbus, Cincinnati, Cleveland, like far as fuck. So LA was a very, very big change for me, but I needed to get out. I really needed to get out. My junior year before I finished college, that summer, I did an internship in San Diego. So I had been to California before. I was here for 3 months. So I kind of like knew what I was getting myself into. I'm pretty far from home, obviously, but in retrospect, a 5-hour flight's really not that bad. And depending on like when you're trying to go home, it's expensive around the holidays, but like if you're like just like going home on a random Tuesday, I feel like you can get some pretty cheap flights. Let's get into it. Being in LA, what have I done since I've been in LA? You see the fucking steam coming off of this cup right now? What have I done since I've been in LA? So when I first moved out here, actually before I even moved out here, when I was still in Ohio, basically my Los Angeles story starts when I was working at this architecture firm. I was there 9 hours a day for fucking 5 days a week. I was like, this is not for me. This is a desk job. I'm like really not about it. I'm like losing my mind a little bit. I was a CAD monkey, a draftsman, as an architectural intern. So I was at the desk a lot. I felt like it was kind of mindless work once you kind of got into the swing of things. I feel like after I was there for a year, I kind of like knew the vibes. And so it wasn't too like challenging either. And so I was listening to a lot of podcasts. I was listening to, I think it's, who is it? Who does that one? I don't know why I want to say it's called Pretty Bitches. I don't think that's what it's called. Some of my favorite podcasts are Schnitt Talk, which was Barstool Sports with Ellie Schnitt. I think now she has one with one of her friends called Late Night Drive. I like Anything Goes with Emma Chamberlain. Those were kind of like my inspiration podcasts and kind of what led me to start my own. And I was listening to a lot of, Pretty Basic. Pretty Basic is the other one. And Pretty Basic has an episode where they also talk about like how to get started, content creation, all that kind of good stuff. So I was listening to this kind of stuff heavily throughout my day, just binging podcasts. I mean, I was working 9-hour days. I was listening to podcasts for 9 hours straight. And kind of just really shaping my future in my mind and thinking about how like I got to get out of here and I got to get to LA and I got to get started on this kind of stuff. This is what I want to do. It's significantly easier said than done, but that was pretty much my motivation to like get out. And so super grateful for that job, mind you. I really liked it at that firm and they treated me well, and the pay was great. The pay is what got me out to Los Angeles. But yeah, I was very inspired to get out, try something new, and get going. So when I was still in Ohio, I had reached out to an influencer per Pretty Basics episode on how to get started in content. They were like, reach out to other creators. They were like, use the veterans, reach out to other creators and like learn from them. And they were like, what's the worst that happens? You reach out and they just don't respond. So true, very true. So I reached out to an influencer. And I was like, hey, are you looking for an assistant? I'm going to be moving to LA, in a month here. And I'm just like trying to get like broken out into content creation. My degree's in architecture. I have a design background. I have experience in Adobe Photoshop and, all the Adobe shit, Premiere and all that shit. And so I was like, how can I help you? And I only reached out to one influencer, actually, surprisingly, at the time. I don't know why I didn't like put my eggs in more baskets. But interestingly enough, she responded and she was like, hey, yeah, I'm definitely interested. You're catching me at a really good time. Actually, things are picking up for me. I am looking for an assistant. Like, let me know when you're in LA and we'll get something booked. So I'm like, holy shit, she responded. Like, damn, that's crazy. Because everyone's like, oh my God, you're an assistant influencer. How does that fucking happen? I literally went to her. I liked her content, and I liked more than her content. I felt like she represented ideas that I believed in. She's a model. A lot of her content is modeling, and a lot of her content is like, anyone can do this. I'm going to help you do this. I'm going to help you get there. Like, these are things that would have helped me when I first started. This is what you should know. And she had a very, very inclusive approach, which I thought was super cool. She was like very quick to call out issues within the fashion industry. And so I was like really inspired by mostly like her narrative and those kind of things, more so than her content and stuff. So I was super happy that she reached back out to me. I ended up moving out to LA. I reached out to her. We got coffee together, and we kind of started working together from there. So that was like one of the really cool things that started before I even got to LA. It definitely got me excited to come out here. Through her, I was with her for like 3 or 4 months, probably till like January. So like August to January. I was meeting with her maybe once a month, got to go to a lot of cool events with her. I got to go to the Streamies with her, got to go to like influencer events, got to go to like Scarlett Johansson's skincare, release event. So that was actually like some really fun stuff that I've got to do in LA, and really cool to get to like kind of like break out into that industry. Unfortunately, I hadn't even started my podcast at that point. Or maybe I had started it, but I hadn't started like uploading and stuff. It was kind of like Shit's Hard was still kind of like in the works. Nothing had really come out of it yet. But that was some really cool LA things that I got to do. Was like every single week we were filming stuff, or like I said, she was a model, so I got to go to photo shoots with her, kind of get the behind the scenes of hair and makeup and meet her makeup artist, which was just really fun, like a whole new world. You know what I mean? Like, holy fuck, this tea is hot. It was just a whole new world for me, being someone who's from like a small town in the Midwest. This was like, holy shit. Like, I just didn't even know all this stuff was going on while I was just back there in fucking Snoozeville. Like, this is crazy. And I got to go to LA Fashion Week last year, which was really cool. So it was just really fun to like be exposed to all the cool and interesting creative parts of the entertainment industry. And that's not even the half of it. This was mostly modeling and some influencer stuff, but obviously like there's like a million things going on at once. I learned a lot from her about content creation, about how it works, about the algorithm, about how brand deals work and that kind of stuff. So I learned so much from her, and that was like an amazing start to LA. And we kind of stopped working together in January, and then come March, I think, is my guess. I actually don't even know. I should probably look. Is when I started Shit's Hard. So I had finally decided to be like, you know what? Like, actually, before I even left Ohio, I had started an outline in my phone, my Google Docs, kind of like a brainstorm content like situation where I just like put down a ton of ideas of episodes that I wanted to make. And I had at least like 10 or 11 episode ideas before I even started. This was like literally the summer before I even left Ohio. And then fucking months later is when I finally like got the mic and got the ring light and got the setup and like started actually doing it. And I don't know, I'm just so glad that I moved to LA and like was exposed to all of these people doing such cool things. That was like such an amazing thing, was working with her. Was I got to not only see like her and what she's up to, but also just you meet so many creative people who are so passionate and are just doing really cool stuff, at least stuff that I personally am interested in. So I think a lot of people are like, why did you move to LA? And honestly, when I moved here, I like really didn't know why. I mean, more so I just was like, I have to get out of Ohio. I need to leave. That was always the plan, was to get out. And I think I knew deep down that I wanted to be a part of the entertainment industry. I didn't know how or where I fit into that. And that felt like a very complicated feeling. As if you guys know anything about me from the very first episodes of this podcast, I have struggled a lot with identity and passion and career and like, what am I doing with my life? And so it's like I knew that entertainment was for me, but it's like, I still didn't know what, when, where, how. And that's very stressful, especially for someone like me. I'm very determined to go getter. And I just like, I have all this energy to put into something that I can't figure out what it is. So that was stressful for me. But again, being in, like, taking me out of that environment of a small town in Ohio, which was just very, closed-minded. I'm going to be honest, closed-minded people who have kind of one way of thinking. A lot of people there are just going to college, getting their degree, getting their job, working a 9 to 5, getting married and having kids. And there's nothing wrong with that lifestyle at all. But I just knew for a fact it wasn't for me. And I knew if I stayed there, I wasn't going to be able to like shape myself into the person that I wanted to be. Your environment truly like defines you, not defines you, but it really does affect you. And this is true on a small scale and a large scale as well. Like if you're in a toxic environment, there's not room to grow, like you're a reflection of the people around you and the things around you. And for me, I had to not only like burst out of that closed-minded mindset. A lot of people, when I told them I was moving to LA, it's like, again, it's like 50-50. Some of them were like, oh my God, how cool, how fun. You're going to have so many adventures. You're going to experience so many things. Like, that's amazing. I'm so happy for you. And the other 50% were like, California? Like, what? Like, what are you going to become, an actress? Are you going to get an electric car? Very judgmental. And, if you've never left Ohio, I suppose maybe you don't know what's out there, I guess. And again, there's nothing wrong with you wanting to live in a small town and have your kids and just like get your, cute house on a farm. There's like nothing wrong with that at all if that makes you happy. The issue resides in people who are being judgmental fucks about what you're doing with your life. That's like the biggest issue. And so I'm super grateful for Los Angeles because just the mindset is significantly different here than what it was back home. That's not to say LA is like amazing and perfect and all that. It certainly has its flaws. But for me, it feels like a treat to be here because I'm surrounded by like-minded, creative, determined people who have really, really, really big dreams. And they have this drive and this ambition to go get those things. And they're bearing this burden on their back of like getting their own shit done, being their own boss. A lot of people out here have multiple streams of income. A lot of people out here are entrepreneurs. They're, a lot of my friends are like trying to start their own clothing brand. Maybe they're singers, maybe they're like actors going to auditions, some of them content creators who want to start making more content. Like, and for me, just like being here and being surrounded by people who are just have this drive and this go-getter mentality. I love it. It's where I belong. It's like these people who are so driven for success. Their dreams are so big. It's going to take them years to get there, but they're like ready for the challenge. And they're like able to wait and to put in the work, even though like the payoff for this kind of stuff that, the stuff that you come out here for, the payoff is sometimes it can be long, like if you think about it, a lot of actors and actresses have literally gone years before their big break. Some like 6 to 10 years have gone. I can't remember. My brother always tells me about that guy from It's Always Sunny. I actually didn't even watch that show, but I guess the short guy on there, I guess had been acting for like 9 years or something and literally was kind of getting nothing and maybe some small things here and there, but like was not anybody until he got cast in that show. And that was like his big break. And there's been people who are like, oh, like how long should you pursue your dream until you give up? And the answer is never. For me, it's never. Like I'm going to keep doing whatever the fuck I want to do because it makes me happy to do it. Hopefully, eventually it can pay my bills, but I enjoy this podcast, the connection it brings me to people, and content creation and how like it brings people together who are like literally not even near the same geographical location. Like I love it. The sense of community and connectedness and relatability that comes with it is what I love. And I think it's sad to think about people giving up on their dreams because you can't fail at your dreams. You can only give up, like you can't just fail at acting. You just quit before you became successful. I believe that, but if that's not your mindset, then you're probably never going to be successful. You have to have that mindset of I will achieve this. I will be successful. And that's what I love about LA anyway. Roundabout way to say is that I'm surrounded by a lot of people who have these super cool goals and these passions that they care about and they like their career. They care a lot about it. And I'm super appreciative of that and for those people because I'm like in the right place. Like I feel like I fit in and that's what I love. So that's been my experience coming to LA after I wasn't working with her any longer and I had started making my podcast. I also got my personal training cert, which was also pretty exciting. I'm pretty proud of myself for that one just because honestly, I've considered getting that certification for a long time, longer than I think that I realized. For a long time, I didn't feel like I belonged in the fitness industry because I'm not a gym rat and I'm not this like drill sergeant type of fitness person. And I have a more wholeness and wellness approach to it. And I care a lot about physical and mental health, hence this podcast. And I love the connection of the two. I do. And I love fitness and I personally like lifting. I enjoy the activity as well as I can appreciate what it does for me mentally and physically. And the aesthetics are, I suppose, great too, but they're lower on the list. And so that's something I'm proud of myself for is I feel like my health and wellness and fitness journey has grown a lot since I've moved to LA and in a positive, healthy way. In general, my health and wellness journey has been going that way, but I feel like I've like built a stronger relationship with the gym and a stronger connection to making it a priority and being there every week. I mean, honestly, I've definitely been consistently in the gym since March. Right now is what? November. We're at the end of November. And this is probably the first time in my life where I haven't really taken a full break from the gym since March. Other than I think in May, my family was here. And so I probably did take a break when my family was here. I probably didn't go to the gym then. But I'm proud of myself for that too, because it's really important to recognize like this fitness thing is a lifelong journey. And inevitably you will miss the gym once or twice in your life. And there are more important things too than the gym. So when my family, who's on the other side of the country, and I only get to see them maybe once a year, was here in LA, then yeah, the gym can of course sit on the back burner for just a week. That's not a big deal. It's nothing for my progress. And if anything, it like benefited my mental health. And like I said, since then, I've been consistently in the gym from March to now, other than that week. And I want to emphasize too on that. By in the gym, I don't mean like following my strict program and giving 100%. Some weeks are better than others. Some weeks I didn't finish my whole program. My split is 4 days of lifting, 2 upper, 2 lower. And sometimes I didn't complete all 4, or other times I just was like having a hard time and I just spent the day stretching or maybe just walking. But I was in the gym the whole time, having this positive connection to the gym, showing up for myself physically. And that doesn't have to mean giving 110% and following my lifting program every time. Sometimes it does just mean stretching, you know? Sometimes it looks different all the time, but nonetheless, I was showing up for myself and I'm proud of myself for that too. And that's something that's happened since I've been in LA. And definitely goes along with getting my cert and like really fostering my relationship with fitness and my body and myself, and just showing up for me. You know, having that mindset shift of I'm here for me and nobody else. And that's been really rewarding too since I've been in Los Angeles. So I'm definitely grateful for that. Outside of that, in regards to since I've been in Los Angeles, my personal relations, I have, since I've been here, pretty much like separated from like nearly everyone that I came here with, which is also a pretty big growth thing that's happened. My life looks completely different than it did when I got here. If you told me like last August, like Amber, you're going to be living with like a random girl that you met on Facebook Marketplace, and you're going to be like not really talking daily to anyone that you came here with, I'd be like, what the fuck? What? I actually probably would have been like, what? Like, I need to go home. Like, I don't know what I would have thought, but I wouldn't have believed it. Yeah, if you would have told me you're going to be a personal trainer living with somebody else, like completely detached, I would have been like, no, I'm fucking not. That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, so I've changed a lot since I've been here. But me as a person, for some reason, I tend to change pretty rapidly. In general, in high school, I was actually voted most changed senior year from freshman year. And I don't know why, but I always think about that because I think it's like very true for me as a person. Ironically enough, I have a lot of the same friends. Some of my best friends back home, like 3 of my best friends who are all still in Ohio, one's in North Carolina, are my friends from middle school. One of them from literally before middle school, from pre-K. So some of these people have stayed with me for a long time, and it'd be interesting to hear from them, like their comment on that, because I have changed a lot over the years. Just like, I don't know, I changed pretty quickly and pretty rapidly, and I don't know why that is. I think it's a good thing. I think it's because in general, I prioritize personal growth. I like to challenge myself and think about, how situations can better me. But it definitely leads to like life looking very, very different for me at all times. Like if you would have told me when I was in college, like, hey, in 2023, you're going to be living in LA with this job and this situation, and this is where you'll be single, I'd be like, what the fuck? Like, I literally be like, what the fuck? What did I do? Truth is, Amber from 2022 or whatever, Amber we're talking about, these are all changes for the better. So my life has definitely drastically changed just in the year that I've been here, but it's been a really good year. Like, thank you, Los Angeles, for this first year here. Best decision I ever made was moving out here, and a lot of the change has been for the better. A lot of it has definitely been painful, a little bit of growing pains for sure, but it's been good. It's been very, very good, and I feel like super lucky to still be here and still be figuring it out. I think too, in regards to career wise and the gym and all that kind of stuff, I'm proud of myself for like job wise and career wise and money wise how I've changed since I've been here. When I came out here, we're gonna be transparent on this podcast. I had 6K roughly before I came to Los Angeles. So that went toward, the U-Haul, hotels on the way out here, gas on the way out here, my first month's rent, deposit, utilities, all that kind of shit. And I literally had no job when I moved out here. And like, to be clear, I just got up and left. We all got up and left. We didn't like have a plan other than like, oh, I'm sure we'll figure it out. And I was having a conversation with someone earlier today, and the truth is you always will. If you want to, you will always figure it out. I was talking to my other friend the other day about how she was living in San Diego. And 2 weeks before the pandemic started, she moved up to Los Angeles, which is how she got here now. And she was like, I literally had like $900 in my bank account. And I was like, holy fuck, like, what am I going to do? Like, COVID hit 2 weeks after that happened. That's fucking insane. Like, that's crazy. And I was like, but you figured it out. And she was like, I did. And you always do. You know what I mean? Like, these things that we do when we're in our 20s that are very, very scary, picking up, moving across the country, like jobs, money, finances, relationships, friends. It's very scary for sure. And it feels very risky, but you always figure it out. I feel like that's something that my best friend has taught me. I am a very high anxiety person. I like to plan, number crunch all day. Before I moved to Los Angeles, months before, I had a Google Doc with a finance sheet with how much money I wanted and needed and this and that. And to be honest with you, I don't even think I had it. I think I was supposed to have 7K before I came here. I didn't even get there. So the truth is, you can be like me and try to plan your life out, but like, the world will have its ways. The universe will have its ways. Whatever you believe in, your higher power, God will have its way. Like, your plan's going to go to shit. And planning's not a bad thing for sure, but like, if you want something such as picking up, moving across the country, starting a new career, a new hobby, this or that, you will make it work. You will figure it out. Like, when push comes to shove, you will fucking figure it out. Like, I don't know. Money is obviously tight in Los Angeles. It's very expensive to be here. It was definitely an interesting choice to get a move across the country to one of the most expensive places to live in the US and have no job there and try to figure it out. Now, don't get me wrong. I tried to get a job before I came here. It didn't work. If you're trying to move somewhere and you're trying to get a job before you come there and you're thinking in your head, oh, I'm not going to move there until I get a job there, then you're never going to move there. It's like nobody will hire you until you're actually already there. But I'm telling you, if you just bite the bullet and do the thing, you will figure it out. And when I came here, I was doing like Rover for a little bit, watching people's dogs. And then I was, then I started at a gym. I was working at LA Fitness, and then I switched to Orange Theory. Then I got my personal cert, and then I switched to this gym that I'm currently at. And obviously I bounced around a little bit, but like finally for the first time since I've been in LA in these last couple months, I've like actually started to save money. Before that, I was just kind of like trying to keep my head above water. It's definitely a struggle. I don't want to like paint this as like a beautiful picture of like, oh, like move to LA and rainbows and sunshines. It's definitely difficult for sure. It's definitely stressful 100%. But again, it depends on how bad you want it. How bad do you want to be here? How bad do you want to pursue whatever you're doing here? And if you don't want it that bad, then you probably shouldn't waste your time. But if you do want it really bad, you can figure it out and you can make it work. So I'm proud of myself for like just even financially how far I've come from when I fucking came here and I was like living paycheck to paycheck and like, what the fuck am I doing? And other endeavors that I've started since I've come here, I know I've talked about this before. I've been going to dance classes at Millennium and I've started singing with one of my clients. We're actually writing a song together now, which is like super fun. Like, I'm just doing so much fun things here that I just would never have done in Ohio. I just wouldn't have never like stumbled across this type of thing. I probably would have never tried to write a song if it weren't for meeting her. And, now I'm in the space of all these creatives. So it's like, I don't know. I'm having such a good time trying these new things and, embracing the failure, embracing being bad at things, and just fucking knowing that you have to be bad at something before you can be good at it. So, that's the shit that we're working on this week is going to be like moving forward. Success is made of a million small steps forward, and it's never one big step. So, especially for you in your situation, if you're thinking about moving somewhere new, switching career paths, maybe going back to school, maybe like putting yourself out there, starting to upload music, maybe you want to go into content creation, whatever it may be, it's super, super important to these things, these goals of yours, if they're big enough, and they should be huge, humongous, so big that some people will roll their eyes or laugh if you tell them. It's made of a bunch of small steps in the right direction. So, 1, give yourself credit where it's due. And 2, acknowledge that it's going to take a while. And just keep making moves, small moves in the right direction, big moves, whatever it may be. For me and my own content journey, I look back to the first couple episodes that I made, and I'm like, we can see the progress because they've certainly gotten better since then. I'm not shitting on myself by any means, but it does feel good to only look back in hindsight and see how far you've come. I guarantee, you watching this video can definitely look back, at least on the past year, and see how in some way, one or another, that you've moved forward and progressed a small way, even in a small, small way. Progressing and moving forward. When I was listening to that episode by Pretty Basic this is an old episode, by the way. I was listening to this so long ago. But when they're talking about content creation, getting started and working with brands and all this stuff, they were like, best advice to you is get started. Start. Whatever it is you're thinking about doing, start. Whether it's making music, whether it's putting out content, whether it's, fucking singing or fucking writing or acting or whatever the fuck that your interest is, just start, Like, I started on making TikToks probably a couple years ago. And when I go back to the bottom of my page, I'm like, fuck. I hate these TikToks. The video quality is bad. The audio is bad. The editing is bad. Amber, why the fuck are you doing that? I look bad. I'm like, what the fuck is this video? But in hindsight, I can look back at those videos and look at my current videos and be like, okay, well, they've come a long way, just at least in terms of video quality or lighting or content, or editing or whatever it may be. Like, at least in some small way, I can see progress. And that's why I leave it up there. Even on my Instagram, I leave up all my Instagram photos always. I never delete them. Even with my exes and all that shit, all my exes are on my Instagram. 1, they're a part of me. 2, because I can go back and just like that was my life at that point in time. I don't want to delete shit out of my life. There's like no way to do that. Like, that's my real past. That's my real history. And I'm leaving it there. Same thing with my TikTok and these videos that I really don't like. There's one video that it's like older. It's not like viral or anything like that, but it's like one of my bigger videos. And to this day, people still comment on it. This girl commented on it today. It's me making a latte with my Mr. Coffee espresso machine. If you don't know, that's the cheapest espresso machine you can get on Amazon. It's like $40. And that was my first ever espresso machine. And I was making a latte with it. And for some reason, people keep seeing it. Like, not often, but just every once in a while, someone will be like, oh, where did you get this from? Where did you get that? And I hate the video. I hate my voice in it. I hate the editing in it. It's from 2021. So it's 2 years old right now, maybe almost 3. And it's really not my favorite, but I don't know why people keep commenting on it, but I leave it up. And we live and we learn, and we just keep getting better. We just keep making better shit. I'm right now uploading the best content that I can due to my current abilities. And the more that I upload and make videos and edit and revise, and make different creative decisions, the more I'll learn and the better I'll get. So I'm well aware that I'm not uploading like the best video on the internet has ever seen, but that's because I'm not there yet. I'll get there. Give me some time to cook. I'm in the oven. Okay. So anyways, that's what we're working on, giving yourself credit where it's due, looking back to only realize how far you've come, and focusing on facing forward. and making progress. Shit I'm wondering this week is, do you struggle with moving forward or fixating on the past, or are you good there? You're like, no, fucking, I'm driven. I'm driven as fuck. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you're thinking this week. And I will see you on the next one, because moving to Los Angeles was certainly hard at 23. And if that is you, if you're thinking about moving sometime soon, or if you're like making a big change, or if you want to come to LA, I'm right there with you, and you are more than capable. And I'm your number one fucking supporter, and you absolutely can do it. So, but that shit is certainly hard. If you want to hear more from me, see more from me, you can follow my Instagram, TikTok at Amber Meisner with 2 R's, and I will see you on the next one, because this shit is hard.